everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den, and once again I do apologise for the light. I'm still waiting for the electrician to come. He's actually on holidays and I don't like anybody, I just like this one particular person to come out and do my work for me. So I'm having to wait a little bit longer. This is the project we're going to do today. This project here is called an exploding surprise box. So I'll open the box, and because mine's quite stiff, it hasn't gone down. It's a surprise box. It explodes open and inside you'll find a little box. Now this box here is not a Stampin' Up die. It is one I had beforehand. It's a bit bigger than the Stampin' Up one, but it does the job, and I'm not going to pay out for something else when I don't need it. If you don't have this box, you can put any other kind of box in here, but if not, if you download my written tutorial for this, I do have a template for this box on my tutorial, so you'll be able to do this. Now this is my prototype one, so it's not all, you know, dressed up how we're supposed to have it. So that's our card, well, that's our surprise for today. It's called a surprise exploding box. So there we go, and it's really easy to make, and it measures 3 inches square. So, and it is 3 inches high as well. So it's 3 by 3 by 3. So it's a good size box, even if you don't want to do that. I did one years ago for my nephew, and inside, you know how you can buy those cake decorating like glass, like champagne glasses and champagne bottles and things like that. I put those in the middle here with confetti in it for his 21st. So, and I put other things on all around here, which I'm not going to be putting lots of decoration on the one I'm doing, but we might do another one later on. I have an idea for another exploding box later on, so I'm going to have a go at that first and I'll let you know. So here we go. I'll pop this on one side and I'll show you what we need. And it's really not that much, believe it or not. Let me turn this all over and I'll show you what we need. So we need a piece of card that measures 9 inches by 6 1/4 inches, and that's for the exploding box. And then for the lid, we need another piece that measures 6 by 6. We need 11 pieces of card that measure, I think it's 11. Let me think, 4, 8, 9, oh no, 10. Sorry, 10 pieces of card that measure 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and another 10 that I've done most of the gluing together, that measure 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So I've done all of them. So where's that? 4, 8, 9, 10. Yes, 10 altogether. So I've done them all but one, so we can go through that together. Plus we're going to need 4 pieces of, again, I've done this in silver, and this measures 2 7/8 by 1/2 inch. And I've done the other 3, and this piece measures 2 5/8 by, it's a little bit more than 1/4 inch because it looks so tiny on there. So this is actually 3/8 inch. I found that to be a little bit better. For our box, which I'll show you my die, this is my die here, right? You need to cut 2 of these, and I've done those, and my template is one looks like this, and I've given the measurements so that you know how big to make it. So I've cut the 2 of those out. Now my piece of designer series paper here is 9 by 6, and it fitted out of that beautifully. For the flower that I'm going to put on the top of it, my piece of scrap card was 6 inches by 2 1/2 inches, because I've actually cut out the magnolia flower, which I'll show you, and then a couple of scraps for the leaves and the stamen. And I was going to bring over a piece of card for a tag, but I didn't bring it over. I didn't think, don't know what I've done with that. I'll have to go and have a quick look. So anyway, so that's what we're going to use, and I'm going to use the Good Morning Magnolia for the what am I going to be using? Oh, there's my other piece of card for my tag, which measures 2 inches by 4 inches at this present time. So I'm going to be using the Thinking of You and just this flower here, maybe that flower there. I'm not 100% sure on that one yet. So I'm going to be using this scallop tag topper for my tag, which is that piece of card that I just mentioned, which is 2 inches by 4 inches. And I do have my Regal stamping rights, because I'm going to do a little bit of colouring in if I do that colour, and some ribbon just to finish it off. Now hang on, I've got glue on my fingers here and it's annoying me. So let's pop that in the bin and let's get cracking. We'll start on the card, the box base first. So I'll bring in my scoreboard and we're going to score this at 3 inches. What am I doing? I can't even see what I'm doing. 3 inches and 6 inches. Then we're going to turn it so that the shorter side, the 8/6 1/4 side, is along the top, and we're going to score it at 3 inches and 6 inches once again. So that's all the scoring we're going to do on the main part of the box. So, now I did it this way because otherwise you need a piece of card that is 9 by 9, and not everybody buys the 12 by 12 sheets, and me in particular don't. Let me go to that line there. Me in particular I don't, because I think that they're a waste of time for me, but that's just my preference. So now what we're going to do is on this 1/4 inch side, we're going to cut away the first 1/4 inch, and we're going to just notch it in a tiny bit, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side and get rid of this other 1/4 inch piece, leaving ourselves with 6 squares and 1 little tab, like so. We're now going to cut away these 2 squares here. That's why I wasn't quite so worried about that extra line in there. So making sure you keep it nice and neat. I can't cut with big scissors. I find that I make a real mess of it. I don't know why, I just do. And we'll pull cut the other one away on the other side, the same. Like so. So this one we can discard, and let's pop that over there. And this one here, what we're going to do is we're going to glue that onto that tab, like so. So let's pop some glue on this tab, making sure we get quite a good coverage of glue on this tab, because we don't want it to pull apart, and making sure this is nice and neat. If you've got any bits that look a bit funny, just trim them up, and we're going to pop that on there, but not over the score line. Now that we have done that, let me put the lid on my glue again for a moment, because it's actually quite warm here today in this room. And we're going to turn this over, so this is now becomes the inside of the card. As you can see, my glue is still a tiny bit damp. It doesn't take long and it goes away. It does dry clear. So now we're going to actually fold and burnish all of our score lines. And if you'd like me, this cherry cobbler is actually very, very stiff. So I'm actually going to fold this both ways to give me a bit more leniency with when it falls down. Making sure we know which side is inside and which side is out. Okay, so I've done that. I'm just going to go back again one more time. Around we go. If we find it's still not good when we put the box together and it comes down, we can always add, bend it a little bit more again. So let's pop these pieces out of the way a moment. Oops, I can't see. I don't need that bit anymore, so let's move those. Let's bring in our squares, that measure 2 3/4 and 2 1/2, and we can glue them all together. So I've only got one to glue to get to this one. And then we can pop one of these on the side, because one of these is actually for the lid. So let's pop one of them on the side out of the way, because we don't need that at the moment. And we're going to pop on the inside of these, we're going to pop one on all 4 sides and one in the middle and glue them down. Now I couldn't do this beforehand because of the fact that you have to cut it all and put it together. Now if you have a pattern that is directional, where mine is not, you do need to be aware of how you cut your squares and how you lay them on, especially on the outside. It's looking very pretty already. I know this paper is retired, but I love this paper, and I thought I still had quite a bit of it left, so I thought I'm going to use it up. I'm going to turn that one around because of the pattern. And one more to go on the inside. No, we did the inside. And yes, as you can see, you can't actually see that join now. So we're going to now turn this over to the outside, and we're going to put the other 4 that are left on the outside. And as I say, if you have a pattern that runs a certain way, you just make sure that your pattern runs up and down on all 4 sides, not side to side. So we're going to glue those 4 pieces on together onto here. As I say, I couldn't do this before, and I'm sorry I couldn't. You've got to sit here and watch me do this, and I'm not really good at working out how to fast forward past it. I know I should try and sit down, but some days I just find it really difficult to use my brain. That's what happens when you retire and don't work anymore. You don't need to use your brain quite the same, or at least that's my theory anyway. So anyway, that's our box done. So now we have the outside and our inside of our box. So the outside is the one with nothing on the bottom. The inside one is on the bottom, so it looks really pretty. And that's our box. It will flap down really nicely because of the weight. It's going to go down beautifully. So let's pop that on one side, and we will now work on the lid. Our lid, we are going to bring in our scoreboard again. Let me put the pin back in my glue, otherwise I will have trouble with it. And I'm going to look at this. And what I'm going to do is I have this square that was left over, and I'm going to pop that down the side here just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. Now I like a little bit of wiggle room, so I did have a couple of pieces. Let me do it with this piece here, so you can see this is a piece of card that will give you the wiggle room on your lid. So I like to have 2 pieces, and you pop that in there, and then you do your scoring. which is on the 3/4 of an inch mark and the 1.5 inch mark. And turn it, butt it up against that piece again and score it on the 3/4 of an inch and the 1.5. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides. Now by doing this, you actually give yourself that little, as I said, that little bit of wiggle room. That helps you to the lid go over without it buckling the rest of the... I did that at 1 1/4, not 1.5. What an idiot. So let's go back. This one was done at 1 1/4, and I'm going to just pop my piece of card back in there. And I'm really not with it, obviously, and I'm just going to go down that line like so. And as you can see, because it's in the groove, it will go away. It won't go completely away, but we won't see it, so we want it at 1.5. So that's better. I'm really doing quite well here today, aren't I? So let's pull this piece out of the way, my board out of the way, and we'll fold and burnish all these score lines. Not the one that wasn't supposed to be there though. Luckily, because of where it is on the side and we're going to be covering it up, we won't see it. So that is one good thing. Now in my directions, I do actually mention doing what we just did there. So it will be in there in my written tutorial. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut away the 2 squares on one side, like so. Cut away, cut away. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides. Now that we've cut away all those 4, we're going to cut away the other square that is along the side on all 4 sides. So let's move our pieces of rubbish. Our piece is going to look like this, without this line in here obviously. So now what we're going to do is we're going to notch in all 4 of these larger ones and cut up to the next line and notch in the corner ones. We're going to do that on all 4 sides. Now we've done the small tabs on one side, so when we get to the next side it's just a matter of notching in on the corners. Then when we turn again, we cut up to the next line at the square and notch it in, and we notch in our edge pieces here and here, and up to the next line and notch it in. Let's get out of there. And the same on this one, just on this corner we're just notching in. So our card now looks like, our lid looks now like this. Okay, without that piece of scrap on there. So now we're going to actually glue our tabs down on the sides. So we're going to put some glue onto our tab. I like to do 2 tabs at a time in this case, And we're going to bring that in and make a nice square corner. Making sure it's nice and square. And then we can do the other 2 tabs. Like so. And just get our bone folder here and just make sure they're down nice and tight and that we have nice square corners. And then we're going to, I'll move these out a little bit so you can see, we're going to pop some glue along this other tab here on the inside. And we're going to then fold it over and inside so we get a really nice edge, and you do need to press down fairly hard. So, and we're going to do that on all 4 sides. So make sure you've got a nice bit of glue along that side there. And we're going to glue that down nice and tightly and move around to the next one. Making sure it's down nice and tight, and then one more. Once that's in nice and tight, we can then decorate our lid. So we have our one piece that we did for the middle, and we have 4 edges, so I'll pop this glue on this one. Glue's falling over, glue's drunk. Glue is drunk. And while that one's just drying there, we'll pop this top one on into the centre. Top. Like so. And I'll just turn that over and press that down nice and hard so it sticks on there lovely. Oh, isn't that pretty on there? That red just actually pops out more with having the red card. And then we're going to pop our 4 pieces around the edge here. Once again, with your edge pieces, your sides, please make sure that if you've got a pattern that runs a certain direction, you've got it all run in the same way. Otherwise it can look just wrong if the part's not the right, all going the right way. I mean, if you're like me and you have a non-directional paper, that's fine. But when it's directional, it does actually look better being all in the same direction. So let's pop this piece onto here. And I'll pop the lid on my glue for a moment. And this is our box. We'll bring in our box. And as you can see, our lid fits over just perfectly now without forcing it, and all the sides do actually come in nicely. So when the person that pulls the lid off, it just pulls out. So we're going to decorate our lid, so let's pop that on the side. Now I've got my tag here. Now I'm not sure the length, so I've actually got a 4-inch piece, and I need my rounder, which was on the other side the room. And I will just, I think I'm going to make him a little bit smaller, maybe half an inch shorter. So let's make him about a half an inch shorter. There we go. This is just a preference. And we're going to then, so this was my scalloped tag top punch, and I need now a piece of scrap. So here we go, a piece that I've used before, and I'm going to do my stamping on here. So I'm going to stamp using the cherry cobbler, if I can open it. Oh, it's very, very hard, that one. Ugh, come on, open, open, open. And I don't want to get it everywhere. There we go. Cherry cobbler for my words saying thinking of you. So I'm going to stamp that about halfway up, like so. And oops, trying to put the other lid on top of that. That was a bit silly. Oh, come on. Doesn't even want to close down now. There we go. And then I will put my flower just down the bottom here. And I'm only going to colour the leaves, the leaves with my old olive marker pen. So, because magnolias can be pink, so I've decided to leave him pink for the rest of it. Okay, so that's our tag done. Let's move my piece of rubbish out of the way, scrap out of the way, pop that over there, and we'll make up our magnolia flower. So I have my two pieces of leaves, my magnolia flower and my stamen. So I'm going to use my foam board here just to give my flowers and everything a bit of dimension. So I'm rolling this top one. This is the largest of the magnolia flowers. I will show you those. I actually didn't do that, did I? I didn't show you that I used the dyes from the magnolia to make the magnolia flower. So let me finish doing those, and I will show you not that pack, because this is a two-piece set, and this is actually retiring, unfortunately. So this has the three pieces of magnolia, the leaves and the stamens, which I've done all three of pieces. So let's move that back over there to make this. I'm now using my ball tool, which is not a Stampin' Up product, just to give some extra lift to the leaves from the middle, and I'm going to then glue them together in succession. So I'm offsetting each one, like so. My stamen in the middle, I will give him lots of dimension up. So he's got lots to bring him up. So I push down really hard to get him to come up. Oops. And I will push him back into the centre of the flower like so. So that's our flower done. Let's move that out the way, bring our lid in, and we'll bring in our ribbon. I've got a bit of ribbon. This again is something that is retired, but I'm getting to the point where I have to use it all because it's getting too expensive not to. So I will use a piece of ribbon about 8 inches long and cut it off. I just am getting to the point where it's just too much, and this ribbon, as you can see, is petal pink. I'm going to then, oh actually maybe I'll pop it together the other way, this way, through the, and then through here. Oh my goodness, that didn't go together well, did it? There we go, got it. And then I'm going to get a few glue dots and pop onto the top of here. So I'll pop a few glue dots into the centre, or just off centre actually. And pop my ribbon onto the box like so, so that it actually sits onto there, and strip off the edges like so. And then I'll get a large dimension here to put on the bottom of my flower to place over the top of the ribbon like so. And a couple of, I'm going to put these on the smaller dimensions only because the glue is going to all fall through them anyway and you won't see it. So let's pop a couple of dimensions onto the bottom of those and pop my leaves just underneath here. And here, like so. That will help to keep the flower down, and that will now go onto our box like so. Right, so let's play with our little box that goes on the inside now. So I have my two pieces of my little box. So I'm going to, this box has score lines. I'm going to just, I've made these out of designer series paper so that it matches, and I'm going to give them a nice curl. As I say, if you subscribe to my Facebook group, Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials, in the tutorial for this you will find an attachment for this template for this little box, so that if you don't have a die you can use the template. So we're going to glue these two pieces together. And let's pop the lid on that like so. My bit more of my glue off my fingers. I forgot to turn this one back, so let's do that now. That wasn't very clever, was it? So that they come together nice and neatly in the middle like so, and our two sides pop over the top like this. This will hold a couple of Ferrero Rochers, a nice present of other kinds if you wanted to. This would make even a really nice man's present. So this will sit in the middle here. You can also put a couple of glue dots on the bottom here so that it doesn't move around on the inside. And that is our project for today. Oh, I might put a couple of little gemstones on here, I think. I've still got some of these nice champagne ones. Let's put some of these on here. Come on, get off. There we go. Oh wow, yes, that just really finishes it off. I think that's beautiful. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. I've actually enjoyed making it. And as I say, it's a beautiful box. And I think that any person would love to get this, especially if you've got an engagement ring in here or a wedding ring maybe, and a nice male was given that to you, or female, it depends on your sexual preference, I guess. I shouldn't be sexist in any way. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you would like the written tutorial for this, please head over to my Facebook group called Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. If you did like the tutorial here, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I know I've been a bit blurb today, so but I've really enjoyed this project, and as I say, it's come up a treat. I really did think it's gorgeous. So I will see you again next week. Bye for now.